No fancy tools needed, just pure practical genius passed down through life. Today, we will revisit 25 genius household hacks they used daily. Do you feel annoyed when bath towels start to become stiff and have a musty smell after just a few washes? This is a problem the modern generation often solves by pouring in more expensive fabric softener, but that actually makes the problem worse. Grandma called white vinegar liquid gold in laundry. In an age where everyone spends money on fabric softeners full of perfume and chemicals, our grandparents simply used one thing: white vinegar. The secret to this hack lies in basic science. White vinegar contains acetic acid, and this mild acid is the key. When you wash clothes, soap residue and minerals from hard water gradually build up on the fabric fibers. This buildup is what causes clothes to become stiff, lose elasticity, and retain persistent odors. Grandma's method was incredibly simple. Pour half a cup of white vinegar into the fabric softener dispenser of the washing machine, right where you would usually pour commercial fabric softener. When the machine switches to the rinse cycle, the acetic acid goes to work. It breaks down the accumulated soap residue, releases the fabric fibers, and makes the clothes soft again, similar to how fabric softener works, but without leaving a greasy residue. Another huge benefit is vinegar's ability to eliminate odors. It is excellent for dealing with smelly gym clothes or stubborn, musty odors on towels. The amazing thing is that the vinegar smell disappears completely when the clothes dry. Your clothes will become neutral, clean, without musty smells or strong chemical odors. It helps maintain the elasticity of the fabric, especially knitwear, prevents fabric fading, and even reduces static cling more effectively than expensive dryer sheets. Perhaps you are looking at a tarnished silver ring or silverware set and thinking you need to buy an expensive, specialized silver polish. Our grandparents never thought about buying a product just for such a small purpose. They always looked for versatile products already available at home. And what was the answer? Toothpaste. Specifically, traditional white toothpaste, not the colorful gel we often use today. The toothpaste formula contains a small amount of gentle abrasive, similar to the type used to clean the dark and dull enamel on silver. This abrasive is ideal for removing the dark layer of tarnish, and Grandma only needed a tube of toothpaste and a soft cloth. The method is very simple. Squeeze a small amount of toothpaste onto a soft cloth and start rubbing gently onto the surface of the silver jewelry or cutlery. It is important to rub lightly, as we only want to remove the outer layer of tarnish. After the silver regained its shine, Grandma would rinse the object with warm water to remove all toothpaste residue and finally dry it with a clean cloth. You can also apply it to other metal items in the house, such as brass and especially the bottoms of copper pots. We just talked about baking soda as a great deodorizer, but our grandparents had another secret. If you think coffee grounds are just for throwing in the trash after brewing, you have missed out on an excellent deodorizing tool that our grandparents leveraged for decades. In Grandma's refrigerator, you would not only find baking soda, but also a bowl of dried coffee grounds. She found that coffee grounds have strong odor absorption capabilities and often work even better than baking soda in dealing with persistent, unpleasant smells like onions, garlic, or forgotten foods in the refrigerator. This is because coffee grounds contain nitrogen, a special compound that helps neutralize odors rather than just absorbing them. The method is very simple. After brewing coffee, she spreads the grounds out on a small plate or tray to let them dry completely, then places this bowl of dry grounds in a hidden corner of the refrigerator or freezer. In just a few days, your storage space will be naturally and effectively cleaned of odors. Even better, coffee grounds have many other applications. Think about the times you chopped garlic or onions, and the smell stuck to your hands, despite washing with soap multiple times. My grandmother would rub a pinch of coffee grounds on her hands to completely eliminate the garlic or onion smell. If you frequently buy disposable dusting cloths or wipes, listen to this tip. Our grandparents never wasted anything, even socks that were torn or missing their mate. Instead of throwing them away, they turned them into the perfect house cleaning tool, a professional dusting glove. These old socks, often cotton or soft knit fabric, have enough texture to cling to dust particles. When you put your hand into the old sock, you have an extremely flexible dusting glove, allowing you to use your fingers to reach into the most inaccessible places. Think about the areas you usually struggle to clean: ceiling fans, window blinds, or tight gaps behind furniture. With this sock glove, you can easily wipe clean every nook and cranny. Instead of using a feather duster, Grandma wore 2 old socks on both hands. This way, she could hold a window blind slat with 2 fingers and wipe both sides simultaneously. This not only doubles the cleaning speed, but also ensures that dirt is thoroughly removed, not blown into the air. The biggest benefit of this tip is its sustainability and reusability. After use, you just throw the dirty sock into the washing machine. Keeping food fresh longer is one of the biggest challenges in the modern kitchen, leading to much waste. My grandparents, who grew up during a time when every penny had to be saved, had clever hacks to extend the lifespan of produce. One of my favorite tips is the secret to keeping potatoes from sprouting: using apples. Potatoes, if stored in a non-ideal environment, will start to sprout and become soft, making them unappetizing, a simple fact of plant science. Grandma's method was to place an apple in the potato bin. Her rule was about 1 apple for every 10 pounds of potatoes. Apples release ethylene gas, a natural plant hormone that prevents potato sprouting. Thanks to this ethylene gas, potatoes stay fresh for weeks longer, extending their use time and reducing waste. However, never store onions and potatoes together. Onions release moisture, and when this moisture combines with potatoes, it accelerates the potato rotting process much faster. Lemon juice contains citric acid, a natural acid with excellent bleaching and brightening capabilities. Grandma specifically used this trick for white clothes or items that had yellowed. Imagine spilling coffee or wine on your favorite white shirt. Instead of using bleach, she would squeeze lemon juice directly onto the stain. Here is the genius part. After squeezing the lemon, she would hang the shirt out in the sun for about an hour. Sunlight amplifies the bleaching effect of the citric acid in the lemon, creating a powerful cleaning and brightening reaction. Then she washed the clothes as usual, and the stain often miraculously disappeared. Lemon's bleaching ability is not limited to fabrics. She also used lemon to clean hard surfaces by mixing lemon juice with salt. She could create a powerful scouring paste to clean yellow stains in the bathtub or on cutting boards. This trick might sound crazy, but it works based on the principle of mild abrasion. Aluminum foil, when folded multiple layers thick, can act like a fine whetstone for the scissor blades. My grandfather's method was very quick. He folded a sheet of aluminum foil multiple times, creating a thick strip about 6 to 8 layers thick. Then he used his dull scissors and cut through that foil strip about 10 long cuts, from the base of the blade to the tip. As the scissors cut through the dense layers of foil, the edges of the blades are sharpened uniformly. The result is that the dull scissors suddenly become sharp again in just 1 minute. Foil is not just used for sharpening scissors. Our grandparents also found many other clever applications for this material. Another simple trick is to crumple the foil into a small ball, and it becomes an excellent scouring pad for grilling grates or oven racks covered in burnt grease. The foil is rigid enough to scrub without damaging the steel surface. Moreover, my grandmother also used a small ball of foil in the clothes dryer. This foil ball helps reduce static, cling-on clothes, working similarly to commercial dryer sheets, but without the cost and chemicals. If you look at our grandparents' wardrobes, you will see very few clothes discarded. Their philosophy was that everything has a life cycle, and when a t-shirt is no longer wearable, it is reborn as a cleaning tool. Our grandparents never bought rags. They believed the best rags were old cotton t-shirts. Old cotton t-shirts are soft, durable, and most importantly, they are extremely absorbent. These shirts have gone through countless washes, which opens up their cotton fibers and increases absorbency, making them work much better than new rags. My grandfather would cut torn old t-shirts into squares of suitable size for easy use and washing. Additionally, our grandparents' home had a very systematic classification system for rags. Suitable for specific tasks, Grandma reserved white t-shirts for kitchen rags, and the areas requiring the most cleanliness. Colored shirts were reserved for dirtier jobs like wiping the car, cleaning the garage floor, or outdoor tasks. And especially, the softest flannel shirts were reserved for wiping wood furniture or polishing mirrors and glass without leaving lint. Have you ever struggled with a jar of jam or pickles with a tightly stuck lid? We often use a towel or try to use force, but often this only results in slipping hands and frustration. But you do not have to worry because there is a simpler solution, more effective than any specialized jar opener. The small, harmless rubber band is the key to opening the most stubborn jars. The method is incredibly simple. Find a thick rubber band and wrap it around the rim of the stuck jar lid. It significantly increases friction. It creates a secure gripping surface for your hand, even if the lid is wet or your hands are slippery. When you grip the rubber band and twist, you get a much firmer grip than gripping the slippery metal lid directly. This is a simple but astonishingly effective physical trick, Besides opening jars, rubber bands have many other clever applications that our grandparents leveraged. For example, Grandma often wrapped rubber bands around the cutting board to keep it fixed on the countertop while she was chopping. This prevents the cutting board from sliding, making cooking safer. There is a way to extend the lifespan of leather goods without expensive costs. Grandpa used black polish for black leather, brown polish for brown leather, and clear polish for all other leather colors. The method is very simple. Take a small amount of polish with a soft cloth, then rub it evenly onto the leather surface. This process not only cleans but also deeply moisturizes the leather. Shoe polish fills minor scratches on the leather and adds a protective layer against moisture and daily wear. A particularly clever application is blurring scratches on leather furniture. If your favorite leather sofa has a small scratch, revealing the underlying leather color, you just need to use a little shoe polish of a similar color. By carefully applying and polishing the polish into the scratch, the polish helps match the color and blur the imperfections, making them almost disappear. Most of us are familiar with using commercial blue glass cleaning products, such as Windex. But in my grandparents' cabinet, that type of glass cleaner usually did not exist. They used a cheaper, more effective, and more versatile product: rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, often found in the first aid kit, was turned by my grandparents into an excellent glass cleaning solution, replacing Windex. Their formula was simple: mix rubbing alcohol and water in equal parts in a spray bottle. For tougher stains like hairspray residue or toothpaste stuck on the bathroom mirror, my grandmother recommended adding a drop of dish soap to the solution. The benefit of rubbing alcohol is its ability to evaporate extremely quickly. This means that when you wipe, the alcohol solution evaporates instantly, leaving no water streaks or smears, making your glass and mirrors perfectly shiny. Alcohol does not just clean, it also disinfects. This is especially important in the bathroom, where bacteria are prevalent. When summer comes, we often chill drinks with ice cubes. But what is the problem? Ice cubes melt, diluting our favorite drinks, whether it is wine, juice, or iced tea. My grandparents, but who always prioritized flavor and quality, found an excellent solution: using frozen grapes instead of ice cubes. This trick is especially popular among adults who want to keep wine or fruit juice cold without ruining the flavor. My grandmother's method required a little preparation. First, she washed and completely dried the fresh bunches of grapes. It is important to dry them. Then she spread the individual grapes onto a baking sheet. Freezing them individually on the tray helps them not to stick together. Once the grapes were completely frozen, she transferred them to an airtight container for storage in the freezer. When needed to chill a drink, she just dropped a few frozen grapes into the glass. And finally, our grandparents' #1 brilliant family hack, a solution that demonstrates their ingenuity: the fruit fly trap. Fruit flies are a nuisance, especially when there is ripe fruit in the house. We could buy complex traps, but our grandparents only needed 2 readily available ingredients: vinegar and dish soap. This method is simple, effective, and requires no chemicals or expensive traps. The method is to pour apple cider vinegar into a small bowl. Fruit flies are attracted to the smell of vinegar, which resembles the smell of fermenting fruit. But here is the important part: add 1 or 2 drops of dish soap to the bowl of vinegar. What is the purpose of the dish soap? It breaks the surface tension of the liquid. Normally, fruit flies can land on the surface of the liquid, but when the surface tension is broken, as soon as the fruit fly tries to land to enjoy the vinegar, they fall straight into the liquid and cannot escape. Perhaps you are surprised, but cucumbers are a refreshing salad item. They are the secret weapon for repelling ants and cockroaches. Scientists later confirmed that cucumbers contain compounds that these insects absolutely hate. The smell of cucumbers, which is harmless to humans and pets, acts as an invisible barrier to ants and cockroaches, forcing them to find other places to live. Grandma placed fresh cucumber slices or cucumber peels near the points where she suspected ants or cockroaches were entering, such as near windows, cracks in the walls, or in the pantry. Cucumbers create a natural barrier, compelling these insects to stay away. This is a completely non-toxic solution, absolutely safe for children and pets in the house. You do not have to worry about pets or small children accidentally touching or ingesting insect chemicals. Furthermore, cucumbers are also useful in the garden. Grandpa often placed cucumber slices around vegetable beds to prevent slugs and snails from damaging the plants. Like ants and cockroaches, slugs also dislike the compounds found in cucumbers. This is a hack that demonstrates our grandparents' harmony with nature. Do you remember any family hacks that only your grandma and grandpa knew? Share your stories and memories in the comments section. Have you ever struggled with paper towels, wiping windows repeatedly only to leave annoying streaks? That is a common problem of our time, where paper towels are advertised as the best. The generation of our grandparents had a much simpler secret, using old newspapers. Our grandparents believed that the secret to perfectly clear streak-free windows was old newspapers. Old newspapers do not leave lint like paper towels, which often make your windows look dirtier after wiping. Instead, when Grandma cleaned the windows, she only used a homemade solution of water and a little vinegar. After spraying that solution onto the glass, she crumpled up the newspaper and wiped in a circular motion. As you can see, what makes the difference is the printing ink. The printing ink on newspapers acts as a mild abrasive. It helps remove stubborn stains like fingerprints, bird droppings, or dried hard water spots clinging to the glass. This is a completely money-saving solution because it utilizes recycled materials you already have. If you have successfully applied any hack on this list, hit the hype button and share this video with your children and grandchildren to pass on those invaluable lessons. Grease stains on carpets are every family's nightmare. When grease was spilled on the carpet, Grandma acted quickly. She sprinkled a large amount of cornstarch directly onto the stain, covering it completely. The important thing is to leave it alone. She usually left the cornstarch there for at least 15 minutes. During this time, the cornstarch acts like a sponge. It absorbs and locks the oil molecules into its structure. After the cornstarch had done its job, it would turn a pale yellow or the dirty color of the oil stain. The final step was using a vacuum cleaner. She simply vacuumed up the cornstarch, and the stubborn grease stain was gone. This is an effective, fast oil absorption method that leaves no residue or toxic chemicals. Cornstarch also has another application in deodorizing carpets. For homes with pets or musty-smelling carpets, my grandmother often mixed cornstarch with a few drops of natural essential oil. She sprinkled this mixture onto the carpet, left it for about 30 minutes for the cornstarch to absorb the odors, and then vacuumed. At a very low cost, only about $2 a box, cornstarch is an economical and environmentally friendly solution for keeping carpets clean and fresh and is completely safe for children. The garbage disposal is a modern utility our grandparents had to learn to deal with. But even with it, they still applied their philosophy of no waste. Instead of using commercial disposal cleaners containing chemicals, they used citrus peels. The biggest problem with the garbage disposal is odors and grease buildup on the blades. Grandma discovered that the natural oils in lemon, orange, or grapefruit peels are powerful deodorizers. The method is very simple. After eating an orange or squeezing a lemon, she didn't throw the peels away but stuffed them down the disposal. When the disposal is turned on, the peel pieces are ground up, releasing natural, fragrant oils which neutralize odors and freshen the drain. The citric acid in the peels also helps cut down on grease buildup, cleaning deep inside the system. However, Grandpa's advanced tip was truly genius. To clean the disposal deeper and sharpen the blades, he didn't just use fresh peels. He froze citrus peels in ice cube trays along with a little water. Then he dropped these citrus peel ice cubes into the disposal and flipped the switch. Why use ice? The ice has a hard structure that helps sharpen the blades inside the disposal when they are crushed. Meanwhile, the frozen peels continue to clean deeply and deodorize. Never throw away your citrus peels again. They are the key to keeping your garbage disposal clean, fresh, and working efficiently. In the philosophy of no more waste, nothing is thrown away, especially food. If we tend to discard bread when it starts to harden and go stale, our grandparents viewed it as a resource. Stale bread is not spoiled bread. It is the ideal ingredient for many different dishes. Stale bread is actually more useful than fresh bread in the kitchen. For making fresh breadcrumbs, stale bread is the perfect choice. Grandma would tear the stale bread into small pieces, let them dry a bit more, and then grind them finely using a blender, or grate them with a box grater. These fresh breadcrumbs have a richer flavor and much better texture than store-bought canned breadcrumbs. She always stored these homemade breadcrumbs in the freezer for later use, ensuring they were always fresh when needed. Furthermore, stale bread is the secret to making the best French toast and bread pudding. If you use fresh bread, it tends to fall apart and become mushy when soaked in the egg and milk mixture. Conversely, stale bread has a firmer texture, allowing it to fully absorb the egg mixture while still retaining its shape. If you are a gardener, you may have spent a lot of money on fertilizers and nutritional supplements. But for my grandparents, the best garden was nourished by products from the kitchen coffee grounds. After completing their task of deodorizing the refrigerator, were taken out to the garden. Grandpa considered coffee grounds the multivitamin for plants. He knew that coffee grounds are a rich source of nutrients. They are high in nitrogen, calcium, potassium, iron, phosphorus, magnesium, and chromium. All these substances are essential factors for healthy plant growth. When coffee grounds are mixed into the soil, they slowly decompose and release these nutrients, providing a stable food source for plants. In particular, coffee grounds are very good for acid-loving plants. This benefits plants like azaleas, blueberries, or rhododendrons, helping them thrive and bloom more beautifully. Additionally, coffee grounds have another benefit in pest control. By sprinkling a thin layer of coffee grounds around the base of the plants, my grandfather created a natural barrier, protecting the garden without using toxic chemicals. Thank you for watching. To continue viewing more content, please comment yes to let us know you are still following. When you stepped into Grandma's kitchen, you would find dozens of modern sprays and cleaners pushed back into the corner cabinet, yielding their place to a single item: baking soda. To our grandparents, this was the secret weapon for dealing with all kinds of dirt and odors without needing toxic chemicals. We are talking about an extremely cheap product, only about 50 cents a box, yet it delivers superior cleaning and deodorizing effectiveness compared to expensive modern chemical detergents. Grandma often kept an open box of baking soda in the refrigerator to neutralize persistent odors because baking soda is the perfect natural abrasive. It is gentle enough that you can scrub without worrying about scratching sensitive surfaces like porcelain or stainless steel, but it is strong enough to tackle stubborn, long-standing stains. Grandma only needed to sprinkle a large amount of baking soda into the sink, add a little water to form a thick paste, just a light scrub with a sponge, and seemingly unremovable stains would disappear instantly. For tougher challenges like cleaning the oven, they created a thick paste from baking soda and water, applied it to the areas where burnt grease had accumulated, and left it overnight. The next morning, the burnt grease was softened and could be wiped clean gently. Chalk, the basic item we often see in schools, is an excellent moisture control and anti-corrosion tool in my grandparents' kitchen. And workshop chalk is not just for writing, it is an incredible desiccant. The secret lies in its chemical composition. Chalk is made from calcium carbonate, a substance with natural moisture-absorbing capability. My grandfather often placed a few pieces of chalk in his toolbox. The purpose was to prevent metal tools from rusting. When the humidity in the toolbox increased, the chalk would absorb it, keeping the environment dry and protecting valuable metal tools from corrosion. My grandmother also applied this trick to her silver cutlery drawer. By placing chalk in there, she prevented the silver from tarnishing. Due to humidity in the air, chalk's application also extends to wardrobes and smelly areas. She placed a few pieces of chalk in the wardrobe to prevent clothes from getting moldy. Chalk also has the ability to absorb odor-causing moisture in gym bags or laundry baskets. In an effort to control portion sizes and combat food waste, my grandparents invented an extremely effective freezing method. If you often cook a large pot of soup or broth and have difficulty storing the leftovers, this tip is for you. He used muffin tins to freeze soup and other liquids. The method is very simple. Instead of pouring leftover soup, sauces, broth, or even cooking wine into one large container, my grandmother poured them into each cup of the muffin tin. Once completely frozen, she removed these soup blocks and stored them in a large freezer bag. The benefits of this method are huge. They thaw much faster than trying to thaw one large block of liquid. And most importantly, for freezer organization, these frozen soup pucks can be neatly stacked in a bag, saving precious freezer space. The area under the sink is one of the most cluttered spots in many modern family kitchens. Sprays, cleaners, and cleaning supplies often pile up, making them hard to find and easily spilled. Our grandparents found an extremely simple and inexpensive solution using a spring tension rod. The spring tension rod, typically used to hang window curtains, is an excellent organizing tool. The method is very simple. My grandfather installed one or two spring tension rods horizontally across the cabinet under the sink near the front. This rod creates a perfect space to hang spray bottles by their handles. The benefit of this tip is immediate. First, it makes everything visible and easily accessible. Instead of having to dig through a pile of bottles, you just look and grab the exact one you need. Second, it keeps the spray bottles upright, preventing spills and leaks, which often happens when they are stacked. You can install multiple rods vertically to create dividers for cutting boards, baking trays, or other flat items, helping them stand upright and be easier to access. Before specialized expensive waxes and wood polishes existed, my grandparents relied on a natural oil, readily available in the kitchen, to care for wood furniture. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is an excellent moisturizer for wood. When wood dries out, it can crack and lose its natural beauty. My grandmother's method was to take a small amount of coconut oil, warm it in her hands until melted, then use a soft cloth to rub it evenly onto the wood surface. Coconut oil has the ability to penetrate deep into the wood fibers, moisturizing from within and helping to highlight the natural wood grain. It also reduces the visibility of minor scratches on the wood surface. Additionally, coconut oil creates a moisture barrier, preventing cracking in dry weather conditions. And importantly, it does not cause residue. If these beautiful memories brought a smile to your face and evoked fond recollections, do not forget to hit the like, share,